People hate Disney. Natalie's in the building. People hate Disney because Disney has become a bastardized version of what Walt Disney wanted. It's become a woke, gender, transgender promoting. It's everything that is fringe. Disney thinks, or everything that is far left, Disney thinks is okay. And so people on the right get up in arms about damn Disney, and they can go and it won't hurt the state. There'll be no negative effects. That's inaccurate. You can't take the largest employer in the state and say get out and think that that's going to be effective. And Disney's going to love this deal, by the way. Everybody thinks Disney wants to renegotiate this. Why would Disney renegotiate? Right. They lose $1 billion of debt by this deal going away. $1 billion of their debt by this going away.
Well, so, I'm a little, I differ sometimes a little bit from your opinion.
You're supposed to.
I mean, I definitely think the whole thing is a bad idea. And yeah, they're not going to renegotiate. Why would they? It's taking away a whole bunch of debt. But I think this kind of all started, just because they disagreed with a law.
Not kind of. That's when it started.
Right. So,
but it's been boiling. There's been an undercurrent of Disney taking advantage of things in Florida for a number of years.
Sure, but I think this issue was that, Disney is kind of supposed to, the happiest place on earth, and it's supposed to be all inclusive. It's supposed to be happy for everybody.
Yes.
And it's been turned political. Their want to be all inclusive has now kind of been politicized, and.
But is that Tallahassee's fault, or Disney's all inclusive? They include everybody. They want to be all inclusive, and they should politics behind the scene and not publicly pick fights with politicians. They got enough chutzpah. They can negotiate behind the scenes with lobbyists that you would never know about and get the same thing accomplished without all this negative news, I believe.
Yeah, they probably could have not said anything and just been, behind the scenes. But I also think they wanted, to make sure that people knew that they were all inclusive. They wanted to kind of help support people that are also a part of their.
We know they're all inclusive. They're the only theme park that has, for the last 30, 35 years, they're the only company that has openly had a gay day where they cater to and bring in the gay community, and the gay community loves the place because they cater to them like that. And by all means, I love the tax dollars that are brought in. By all means, have days like that at Disney. I think we ought to have an adult-only day at Disney where no kids are allowed.
Right.
They've been all-inclusive for a very long time, and it's been well known. I just think when you have a governor who is aiming to become a national name and everything, right now he's on a high. You got to pick your battles, and this was one Disney probably should have, in my opinion, probably shouldn't have scraped the scab. They should have let this one go.
Well, it definitely would have made their lives a little easier, but now they're going to get rid of all their debt if this passes. So,
it may have made their life a lot easier.
Right? So it may have been a good thing for them, I think it's a shame, though. I think that, it's really a shame that everything seems to get politicized nowadays, and,
Well, luckily for us, Disney's not going anywhere because that means the hotel tax will stay, and that means that we won't have income tax or ad valorem tax or stuff like that.
Right,
so
and all those people won't lose jobs.
Right. Disney, they're too entrenched now to pull up stakes and just say, we're abandoning Florida.
Yeah, there's no way.
They can't do that. No. They can't. And by the way, this may end up in court where Disney goes, why are you just getting rid of the districts before 1967? What about how's that not discriminatory? That you're letting everybody after 1968, but you're doing this where it just shows you it's just our deal.
Yeah.
This is going to court. If it passes through the House and the Senate, then Disney's going to roll out these lawyers, and that's going to cost the state tax dollars to go to court against Disney.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's a never-ending cycle that the taxpayers are going to foot the bill for.
Yep.
And I think there's other things the legislature could concentrate on, like fixing the homeowner insurance problem, where insurance companies are dropping people in the state of Florida left and right because their roof's more than 10 years old. You're in real estate. You know that when you get a home inspection or something, that a home inspector will tell you that roof's 12 years old. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, for
they're
some of them,
20
depending on the
right,
roof.
depending on the
type,
roofing type and everything.
Yep.
You know, 12-year-old roof's perfectly fine
Yeah.
because it's 20-year roof, guaranteed for 25 years.
Right.
You know, and so the fact that these unscrupulous people are tricking people into changing their roofs at 10 years, before 10 years, and filing it under insurance, or we'll file it for you and everything, and they're making $45,000, $50,000 when it should be a $10,000 job, and it's costing the insurance company money, so the insurance companies are getting out.
Yeah.
And this is something that needs to be addressed, and that's what this special session was called for. The special session wasn't called to take a district away from Disney. The special session was called to address the homeowner insurance issue. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but if it plays out the way it looks like it's going to play out, the people that are going to get strapped the most are the taxpayers in Orange County and Osceola County, no matter what your party affiliation is. Your taxes are going to explode. And because sales tax and gas tax will be higher in those areas, if you go to those areas at all, you're going to have to pay that higher tax. So it's politics at its best, I guess, in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And it's the largest employer versus the state. So it's two heavyweights.
But neither one of those are actually going to be the people that get hurt for this whole thing.
Both of them are throwing haymakers at each other, and they're not the ones getting hit by the punches. It's the people in the audience.
Yep.
That's exactly what's happening. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this timeout with Vets News on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell walked out of a G20 meeting on Wednesday when the Russian finance minister started speaking. Yellen and Powell were joined by other world leaders, including the head of the European Central Bank, the Canadian Deputy Prime Minister, and Ukraine's finance minister. The federal government is jumping back into the mask mandate business. The Department of Justice on Wednesday said it will appeal a ruling striking down the mask mandate for public transportation after the Center for Disease Control and Prevention requested the appeal. Sarah Nelson, international president of the Association of Flight Attendants on the Hill website, says they were blindsided when the mask mandate was lifted this week.
They were told their job was to enforce this. They are supposed to have that standing in the cabin to keep everyone safe, and that really undermines their roles.
Thanks for listening. USA Radio News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. Well, baseball and peanuts, they've all gone together, and the National Peanut Board has published a new peanut podcast about baseball and peanuts. It's expanding to other sports as well, according to the officials. The National Peanut Board covered the topic in a recent episode of their famous Peanut podcast. According to them, it began in 1895. That's when peanuts and baseball became married together, when pioneering ballpark concessions. Harry Stevens decided to sell advertising space on scoreboards to a peanut company. Instead of a financial payment, the company paid him off in peanuts, which Stevens then sells them at the ballpark. According to Bennett Yaperson, the author of The Joy of Ballpark Food, this is the beginning of a long history of peanuts and baseball. It reported that during the pandemic, over 4 to 7 million bags of peanuts were eaten each year